Did you ever wonder what would it be like if I had a boa constrictor with a bunch of South American fish? Well, in the show Tanked, they did that, and today we're going to review and rate it. As I'm sure some of you know, this tank was made for Dwight Howard, the basketball player, and although he's very into snakes, it's clear that he's not very into fish. But more on that at the end of the video. As opposed to some of the other tanks we've reviewed, this paludarium is beautifully centered between these two pillars in this massive mansion. The tank itself is massive. It's 9 feet tall, 8 feet long, and the aquarium portion itself is 6 feet long and 100 gallons. But as pretty as it is, does this tank meet the needs of the fish within it? Well, let's take a look. We've got 2 3-spot earth eaters, 7 electric blue acaras, 5 Oscars, and 7 blood parrots. That's a lot of fish. Although not very big right now, those electric blue acaras can get 6 inches long. The blood parrot and 3-spot earth eaters can get 12, and those Oscars can get 18 inches long. This may be a kingdom for the acaras, but for even 3 Oscars, these are tight quarters. Thankfully, these fish share similar temperaments, although if any of them start breeding, all bets are off. Let's check out the design of this tank. Now, first off, what I really like is that we have a root descending from the tree into the water. I love that. The only problem is that it's not real wood, which means none of the fish would be able to benefit from the microorganisms growing off of it. What I see next are fake plants, and although that's typically a critique in these videos, I actually give them thumbs up for it. You see, each of these fish, and especially the earth eaters, love to move the substrate around, and so if you had any live plants planted in it, they would quickly be uprooted and die. Sometimes these cichlids even just rip up plants for the fun of it. Then we head over to these large stones, and I love these. Once again, great grazing area. Only problem is that they're not real. And of course, they make great areas for spawning, which elicits lots of aggression from these fish. Then there's the gravel. It's blue and green. This doesn't scream South America to me. This was a huge missed opportunity for them to have sand and botanicals in this tank that the fish would benefit from and be able to sift through for little organisms and scraps of food. Okay, this tank might be ugly to me, but is it functional? Yes, as long as you don't mind reaching your arm all the way through the snake side of the enclosure to get to the fish side. That's right, as far as I can tell, the only door to access this thing is from the back. Now, snakes are not as aggressive as people make them out to be, as Dwight will tell us later. But still, reaching your hand all the way through the tank just to do a water change, that's pretty annoying. Based on the water flow that this tank has on the surface, I'm guessing that it's got some kind of sump filtration pushing up through the roots of this fake tree, which is pretty cool. But it doesn't excuse the worst part about this tank, which is the lid. This lid is held up by these acrylic squares, while also being partially submerged in the water, which I guess would allow for the water to be rippled and oxygen exchange to happen without the fish jumping out or the snake climbing in. But this presents kind of a problem. See, if the water can pass above the lid, if there's holes big enough for that, there's also holes big enough to dissolve substances down and into the aquarium. Now, I don't know if any of you have a snake, but I think you know what I'm getting at here. Snakes digest their food slowly, especially larger snakes like boa constrictors. Now, imagine your snake has eaten a large rodent or bird. The remains of that animal don't get passed the next day or later that night. No, they get passed a week after it's been ingested, or even longer than that. And to help pass it sometimes, especially when shedding, the reptile will go into a body of water. Warm water is very nice. Even a fish tank's water would be wonderful. And nothing makes for a worse tank mate than a foot of snake poop. So, rating, and drumroll please. I'm giving this tank a 1 out of 10. Even if there wasn't a boa constrictor dropping turds from above, these fish have no hope of thriving. The only reason why I gave this tank 1 point was because I think that the tree roots are pretty cool and they hide the sump outflow and intake pretty well. So now my question for you is, what would you put in this tank and how would you scape it? Let us know in the comments below. If you're still watching, here's some fun facts. Dwight Howard eventually moved for his basketball team, and this tank landed in the hands of the Ohio Fish Rescue. All the information for that will be in the description of this video. As I said in the beginning, Dwight Howard is not much of a fish guy, but he is a really big snake guy, and unlike some celebrities, he's done a lot of work to dispel many of the myths surrounding snakes. So what do you think? If you want to see more videos like this, as well as updates on my tanks, subscribe. And if you want to choose what the next video will be, participate in our next poll. As for now, keep swimming, and I will see you guys next Sunday.